All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning. I'm your co-host, Coach Vernon Garrison, and we're on Awesome Radio. I'm gonna hand it over to the host, Miss Nada Manning, for the rest of the station identification. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nada Manning.
Oh, hello, everybody. Yes, we are on Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, WECU, 1570 AM.
Yeah.
And we are more than happy to be here with you today as we continue with our Father's Day tribute for the month of June. It is such a joy as we continue to listen to other fathers and listen to other readings and all of that to just know just how important it is to continue with this Father's Day tribute. And that's what I call it for the whole month of June. We're going to go into the third segment of the show, which Mr. Vernon Garrison is going to take somewhat of the lead on it, but I think he said that he wanted me to have more to say this time. I don't know. It's a man thing, but hey, I do the best I can, and I hope that you all will enjoy every word, every syllable, and take it to heart. First, I'm going to say up front, and I'll probably say it again at the end of the show. Happy Father's Day to all of you dads, fathers, grandpas, uncles, male mentors, all of you who are going to be, have been, plan to be the father image of some child somewhere, if not your own. Happy Father's Day, and know that we here on this show really, really love you as you are, no matter who you are or where you are. You are still precious. We still love you, and I can't say it enough. Think a lot of yourselves. If those of you who you're not doing as well as you want to do as a father, you have time to do better. So take advantage of the time. But I thank you for what you have done, whatever that is. God bless you. And we continue now with the show as I turn it over to co-host Vernon Garrison.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for that Father's Day acknowledgement. It means a lot, and we've chosen this month to talk about men and fathers alike, and that's something that's really what the main topic of discussion is in a lot of social media platforms. The roles and responsibilities and social conduct of men and the social roles and conduct and expectations of women in our culture, in our society, politically, life-wise, and religious or spiritual. Everybody's assessing, not everybody, but per se, we're all assessing our positions in life. And I think it's a great time to preface the show today. The new school of thought, and you heard it here on this show first, on this station first, is I don't think the American African man has had enough social sobriety, spiritual sobriety, and the foundation in this on this continent to justify us being in a higher social position, a solid higher social position than we actually are spiritually. I still think we're getting there. There's a lot of churches, there's a lot of pastors, there's a lot of spiritual knowledge out today. More translations in the Bible than you can read. But I think God is there's still room for us to get a better relationship with our Father, and thus when that happens, I think a manifestation of all things in life, family wise, and right down to probably the least important is the prosperity. It don't cost money to enjoy your life, though we need money to enjoy our life. Um, that's an interesting statement.
Yes, it is.
All right, I heard one of the queens of history. I wish I could call her name, but she said, children don't judge their fathers by the amount of money that they can give. What child that wants love, that comes into this world, says, give me $20 or I'm not going to love you back. Give me $1,000. Oh, you gave me $1,000, I can love you more at 8 years old. What child does that? When does that come into play? When we actually giving them Christmas gifts, when we monetize our relationships with our children. So that means children just want life. They want love. That's the most important factor. Not whether you are rich, famous, or not. You're an average person. If you're that child's father, then that's the world. Anyways, so it costs money to live in this world, but then again, it doesn't cost money to live in this world. All right.
It doesn't cost money to love.
It doesn't?
It does not cost money to love.
Right. So that,
and that's what the
let
children...
me use one more analogy. That's what they need. Let me use one more analogy about monetization of our lives. Why do we pay for water that comes out of the ground for free? You can go in your backyard and dig a hole and get a bucket of water out of there. Is God going to send you a bill? Why do we charge money to breathe the air that's already here? Because we messed it up, and now we got to use equipment and chemicals to keep the water clean, to keep the air clean. We just found ways to monetize our living. Why do we charge money for fruit and grapes and apples that you can grow in your yard for free, for food that's walking around out here that if we left it alone, growing cows and deer and food is out there. How did we get to where we're charging money for land that was already here that won't go nowhere? We're just charging money to access to land. The house, all of this, it's God's. It's still a tree. The house made out of wood. It still grew out of the ground. So I got issues with what we've done in America, the greatest idea and the greatest concept on earth. You know, we've sold everything here for money. And thus, so, yeah.
And so as we move forward, everyone, Coach has some valid points there, but we want to have some time to bring out some specific points as it pertains to fathers and men. And I'm sure he had a point to make, but we have so much to talk about.
Don't y'all like the way she just redirected me right there? Y'all, you gotta love it. Today's show is about mental health, guys. And yeah, I've been traumatized. Every day I wake up, I get traumatized. All right, my teacher said get on point, okay? All right, when the bell ring in class, we'll still be able to leave regardless. But there will be an exam after this class today, guys. But the principal said we better get it done.
So how do we know if someone has a mental problem? Since we're talking about mental health, how do we know if someone has a mental problem?
Let me start by asking you a question with a question. And I usually get mad when people do that too. But today I'm doing it for a reason. In the early 1900s, but when you come of age to know the people in your community and your social circle expanded to visiting other people's homes, give the audience a view of what it was like if someone had mental issues and they were incapacitated, they couldn't walk, or they had developmental disabilities along with it. I remember going over to somebody's house and they had somebody in a room. They didn't let them out. They said, yeah, that's so-and-so, they in there. And the door was shut. And so they mean that they had problems, that they weren't really social people. But I ain't trying to go that deep. did you have an indication that men, anybody in your community, in your life, had mental health issues before we said ADD, manic depression? Did you have, was there social cues?
I believe we might have semi-addressed that on the previous show.
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, uh, the word mental health did not exist. So I'm going to redirect those two words to just say that there were some stressful times. Um, because mental health was not in our vocabulary back in the
Yeah.
50s and 60s and 70s. Um, your question is, was there any indication that a person had some type of problem, some type of
Yeah.
issue?
Was that uncle can't do right, can't get right? What did y'all say about somebody that won't acting right?
Well, you know, because of the lack of knowledge back then and the lack of information provided to us from various individuals, as well as medical didn't exist too much back then, as we talked about earlier. So we would usually have a discussion about it, just sit around, one or two of us, or the family as a group. Most of the time, it was just a onesie twosie when we would sit down and just talk to the person and just ask them straight out, flat out, what is the matter? So it was more like a conversation, one on one or two on one. Just ask the question. That's how we would address it. And sometimes we would get a direct answer, and sometimes we wouldn't. Sometimes they'll just come right out and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm behaving the way I do. And sometimes it's obvious why they are behaving. It could be because of some type of drama that's going on in his or her life. Um, I have a couple of family members that went through some things, and it could be because they have recently found out some type of health issue that they're having and they don't know how to deal with it. So that has happened in my circle. Um, and as time went on, we found out that there was a health problem. So we say, so that's what was wrong with her. Oh, no wonder she's been acting so strange. So then when they found out that we found out, we would go to them again and just address it and just say, we know what's going on with you. So what do you want? How can we help? What can we do to
So
make your
y'all
life
really
better?
didn't. The only word I knew, excuse me for cutting in, the only word I knew was the same thing they did with me at school. And about an assessment I was going through, there was a bunch of people sitting around in a circle asking me questions, and I
Right,
didn't get it. And next thing you know, I was in the retarded class. And that's
right.
what they called it. The retarded.
And and
And
and and
I was with the retarded people for about a year.
and that's because they didn't understand you. They didn't know how to handle you, so they just separated you. Um, and that's not uncommon. That was done back years before your time as well. You just separate them. They just said, you know what, this person is special. We don't want them to be around the other students to be disruptive type thing. So yeah, that we didn't have then what they have now to have a class for them or a group study and none of those medical attentions existed. So we handled them ourselves by talking to them and sharing love and you know whatever special needs that we could provide at that time, which wasn't much, and we just took one day at a time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, to the body of the subject, we're going to go ahead and give you what you came for. We want to talk about some of the symptoms of mental disorders in men. And I want to do a list, so please forgive me, but I want you to get the comprehensive part of the show. Men and women can develop most of the same mental disorders and conditions, but they may experience different symptoms. Some common symptoms include anger, irritability, aggressiveness, noticeable changes in mood, energy level and appetite, difficult sleeping or sleeping too much, difficulty concentrating, feeling restless or on edge, increased worry or feeling stressed, misuse of alcohol, drugs, or both, persistent sadness or feelings of hopelessness, feeling flat or having trouble feeling positive emotions. Ah, that's one right there. I know I've been down that road. Engaging in high risk activities.
Okay,
Aches,
comment.
sure.
The engaging in high risk activities. I don't know personally anyone, because when I think of high risk activities, I'm thinking of something like climbing high places, going out on a limb. I mean, literally out on a limb. Uh, why? Or going, I'm trying to. I do know one individual that actually jumped off a bridge. That's high risk, but they were
Mm-hmm.
intentional. They knew what they were doing. It wasn't the right thing to do. Actually, it was a friend of mine, and that's what she did. She actually jumped off a bridge, and I thought we were very close.
Right.
I think we were both in our 20s at the time. Um, I had just had my second son, and I think she had at least one or two children. Two, I think she had as well. And I thought we were pretty close. And the next thing I knew, I had gone somewhere on a trip or something for a few days, and wanted her to come with me. This is a short story because we want to get to the rest of this. But I found out when I returned that she had committed suicide. She was married, and I thought she was a very fashionable, attractive woman. I had a husband and children and a home. So, you never know what's going on in a person's life that stresses them out. And many times, no matter how close you think you are to an individual, they don't share everything. Many times now, I won't say no time, but there are times when they will not share everything, even with their closest friend. And that's what happened in that case. So yes, there was definitely some mental issues there. I never found out what the whole story was. And her children are now probably in their 50s. So I don't know whatever happened with that, but that was a personal experience and it was devastating. So anyway, moving right
You
along, you were talking about high risk activities. That came to mind when
right.
when she did that. Anyway,
If anyone in the audience wants this list of or any resource or any information that we're drawing from or that I write, then like, share, and subscribe to our social media platform or Awesome Radio, GPAT23, Facebook, and YouTube. Then you can have it logged, or you can email me at Coach Garrison Office, Coach Garrison Office at gmail.com. Because I want to feel relaxed in giving you these subjects because we all know people. Subtle indications come out. I had a lot of friends want to go mud and take their trucks and go down in ditches and jump things and ramps. And there's a lot of self-esteem issues. But
yeah,
one out of three of those issues that we talk about could be hiding a real inside issue that a person has. And you, as a man, may know about another man's plight just by being able to identify with them. And so you might be able to pick it out, but you have to have the courage to say, did you just do that? And for what? Let's sit down and talk about it. Because I know when I do that, I'm, feeling some kind of way. And so we'll have to be able to I confront people all the time about certain subtly things I do and say. And I get a little personal with it. And some things I say may seem to be and could be on the verge of being inappropriate. But I'll step to a person and say, yeah, what just happened right there? did you do this? Or, I'll say what I see and back up real quick. But here is we're going to go through the rest of the list here. Feeling flat or having troubles feeling positive emotions. I mentioned that one. Engaging in high risk activities. Aches, headaches, or digestive problems without clear cause. Obsessive thinking and compulsive behavior. Obsessive thinking and compulsive behavior. We all do that, but the compulsive part, you're gonna have to get a dictionary and look that word up. The compulsive part of our behavior means we take it over the top and it consumes others. It's not just annoying to other people. If somebody's saying you're annoying, they might be translation saying you're compulsive, you're out of control. Take that after you respond to the insult by saying, "Oh, you think I'm crazy? You're crazy too." After you finish getting what they give you, go back and really search yourself and see if there's some validity to that. And we're all working on things, and should be if we got a good pastor or teacher or preacher or mentor or instructor, somebody we look up to in our lives that's giving us knowledge and guidance like an OG. We all should be working on something in the area of self-improvement. But compulsive behavior matched up with anything, washing hands, eating certain types of food. I'm going to get off that. I'm not a licensed psychiatrist or psychology major, but yeah. Thoughts or behaviors that interfere with work, family, and social life. Stop making excuses for those thoughts that interrupt your life and you punish everybody else for them. If you're having those things and they're interrupting your life, then they're interrupting my life. They're interrupting my life. I'm just going to tell you like it is. That's one of those things I do that. And it don't have to be offensive. I'm interrupting your life with my behaviors that are interfering with me. I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting your blessings off because all of my stuff is jacked up. So men, you got to know that if you're getting it from complaints and people that are trying to egg you on to become better, they could be trying to control you because you are rattling the cage. You are stretching your family's opportunities. I want my family to be great. I need everybody to have a career. I need everybody to get a job. I need everybody to create income. I need everybody to maximize the knowledge that God gave. I need everybody to be working in the ministry and caring for others. That's what we do as a family. But I want you to know that you need to know what your higher calling is for your family and the social life that you want your family to have if you're the head of the household. Now, I'm not talking junk like I did all of this when I had my family raising them up, but I push my son to this day. And he knows that when I look at him, I'm pushing him, and I can tell on his face. And sometimes I mean to push him around, and I get pushed around. Believe me, I do. All right, the last one on the list, thoughts of death or suicide attempts. Okay. What I would say to this point, men, if you have anybody around you that's got any type of despair, that just don't feel well about how something went, work from there. Because you would be treating the whole garden if you treat the area around it. Things that you don't know that's going on in my life, when you speak to me with intent, and if you find a moment to say, "How you doing? What's going on? I know you said this in the past, and I know that so how you doing with that?" If you break it down and you do certain things, then you will be addressing indirectly someone that has had suicidal tendencies and might be contemplating suicide. I put a post up, Miss Nada, not too long ago on social media saying I have had 3 attempts no, 2 attempts on my life in the most recent days that I clocked. I think it was like 2 weeks or something. Some people thought that I said that I attempted to commit suicide 2 times. And I thought that was interesting because that's the way language is. But what I meant was I had a truck that almost hit me. Uh, I I believe I had a brush with heart attacks and not just heart palpitation. So I had some real issues that was going on with that whole system of breathing, and and that a couple of episodes of that was like, oh man, how close was I to a shutdown? To this point, I don't quite know how close I was, but I know the last time I felt that way, I went to the emergency room. So, but that's what I meant. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think those experiences affected you um, in your thought process, in your way of doing things? Um, did that redirect your purpose, or was it a negative or a positive, or both, impact on you? And I say that because surely you're not the only one. We're talking about men, though. You're not the only man that has experienced such life threatening attempts. So I'm asking you, as a man, what kind of impact did that have on you in your rest of your life type? Because your life almost ended, number one. And number two, your thought process on other people.
Well,
How you see the next person. Did that make you feel more concerned, or just what impact did that have on you
it had
mentally?
an it had
mentally
an
mentally
mentally it
mentally
had right. It had an incredible mental impact, and I'm talking about not what I chose to say about it, because I think you're asking, did it affect my brain and ultimately my spirit? And yes, it did. It gave me a reality, a surreal reality of life, that I'm a mortal human being and I will die. And I have a choice, some choices in how that happens. Excuse me, I think I have some choices in how that happens. I know we set up our address to be in heaven, and how you do that is, you invite Jesus into your life and those things, So I got a ticket for that. But I have a choice in how my quality of life shapes my destiny here on earth. My fate, not faith, my fate. So mentally, it scared me. Mentally, I was shook. I jumped right over to spiritual right after that. And I said, God, let whatever time I have left on this earth be good, be plentiful, be joyful. And I made a decision mentally and spiritually to redirect all of my fears to, I'm going to take care of my body, and I'm going to take care of the people that's in my close proximity, that's within reach. I'm going to take care of, and those that know me know that that's what I said to each and every person that's in my life. And I said, I'm going to make sure that I cherish every moment with you. Every moment, everything I touch. When that happened, it scared me so bad. That week of my life, I said, now from here on out, everything I do, don't matter how much money I have, don't matter how much money I don't have, what resources I have, when I'm with somebody, you're going to get me emotional now.
Amen.
When I'm with anybody, I'm going to do my best. That's the expectation of learning, getting education, so you can do your best. There's technology, there's means to visit family, there's means to forgive, there's means to do your best. Mentally, if you have limitations, I believe you got to push that. Seeking God for healing. Sometimes you even got to be mean to get your point across. And I don't mean mean in a way that you hurt people, but being meaningful in what you say does hurt people. Boy, I said that. Not being mean and intentionally hurting people, but being meaningful in what your intentions are will hurt people. But sometimes pain births life. That's where we were born, through the womb of a woman. That's the way that God chose for us to come in. Was that because of the sin in the garden that childbirth is painful? I don't know. But that's because God planted men's mental health in the bosom of a woman. Oh man, I'm like, God, you mean to tell me I can't be happy and unless I get with one of these beings that you made? I can't be complete unless I'm with a woman. Well, if you just tie those two things together, that's what God said. It ain't good for you to be alone. I'm gonna create this woman to be a helpmate to you, but I'm gonna but I'm getting her from you. The rib that I'm getting, I didn't just create her out the dust. So, dude, men, we are incapacitated sometimes if the loves of our life, the women of our lives, are not connected right. So I wanted to say that in your question, you see how life-changing it was to know that what every day that I live, I'm trying to live for the betterment of mankind and the people that's in my life. And because there's certain things that I got going on that's jacked up, but whatever I don't, then I want to make the best. I'm gonna cash in on it and give it to you and give it to the children. Yeah, that's it.
And so, folks, you can see men in particular. I'm talking to you men. You can see that men of all ages, of all ethnicities, of all cultures, you have feelings too. And we women, I would encourage all of us to be more aware, to be more caring, to be more loving, to be more supportive. As hard as it can be sometimes, we're talking real life here. I'm your host, Nada Manning, and we are talking real life here on Let's Talk Real Life show. My co-host, Vernon Garrison, has just expressed a very heartfelt experience. And I'm sure many of you men out there have gone through similar, not the same, but similar situations that should be causing you to step back and think about what could have happened. And the Lord allowed you and spared your life through that. Why did he spare your life? So that you can share it with someone else. Whoever that someone else is, don't take it lightly. You are precious. Dads, fathers, mentors, grandpas, uncles, cousins, brothers. You are special. And know that it's all about, this is your time. This is your month. And we are recognizing you through all heaps and bounds, ins and outs. So don't take what you just heard very lightly. It was very serious information there that was just provided to you. You saw it firsthand. And so now we're going to move on. I think we touched a little bit on how can I help? How can we help us women and other men too, helping each other? How can we help with this mental illness, this mental health stuff? What can we do? Well, there's many ways we can do it with a problem. And I don't know if Coach wants me to proceed with this on these tips, or are you okay, sir?
Yeah. I think that we want to go with that. Yes. I would get ahead. Yes, you're on it. Because this is what we're about to talk about right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that I don't want you to violate, because it's like a key, and I'll be short. You only got likely one key that's going to fit that lock. And one of these keys that we're about to read to you might fit your husband, might fit your dad, might fit your son. So listen to these keys that we're about to go to almost verbatim, so you can get this golden knowledge.
Don't forget the brothers.
Yes, definitely. Brothers. Yes. Yeah. I do have a brother. So I just saw a text message come through on him talking about Happy Father's Day. So he's not a father, but, other than that, he always makes sure he tell me about that. So, but with these tips that we're about to read for talking about mental health, get your notepad out, get your pencil out, everything. We're going verbatim, because not that we're going to give you a written test after the show. You're going to be tested the next time you start listening to a man talk. Could be an hour from now, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. You're going to listen to see if you can get in or apply what we're about to share with you right now. All right. Number one is set time aside with no distractions. If it's their time and you're going to give them their time, then it's their time. I know women, you want your time. No, it ain't your time. Nowadays, men be doing their alpha. Next thing you know, they on their film energy, and they whining. They gotta have somebody to talk about stuff to that they don't talk about to at work or in the groups of alpha men.
Right.
Set time aside with no distractions, and I'm gonna add to that. That is not your time. Now, I practiced and learned. I stayed married 30 years and blah, blah, blah. Learn how to listen to women. I can do it for hours. Well, I can go about 2 hours. After that, as long as I've ever listened to one woman talk and complain, was 4 hours straight. Okay? And I was just, yes. Intently reflective listening. That's my record, 4 hours. After that, ain't no telling. All right, number two. All right. Let them share as much or as little as they want. Let them lead the discussion at their own pace. Don't pressure them to tell you anything they aren't ready to talk about. Talking can take a lot of trust and courage, and you might be the first person they have been able to talk to this about. So before you say, yeah, well, okay, are you done? Can we go to Walmart now? Shut your mouth and shut your mouth. And then you could perhaps hear something you have never heard before. That's the pay dirt. Wait for it. You might hear something that you have, my voice getting loud. I'm sorry, y'all. You might hear something you have never heard that guy say to anybody, because he picked up that you were sitting there and you weren't ready to go to Food Line, or you weren't rushing. Now, I'm just throwing little comments out there, but you could have to go pick up somebody legitimate. All right, number three, because I want to make sure we get these out here. Don't try to diagnose or second guess their feelings. If you never heard it, or you never heard what they were saying before, you uncharted territory. You never been there with me. And I just chose to trust you to start saying certain things. So, and I already knew you wasn't going to understand it, especially if you were talking to me. So that's probably why I didn't say nothing to you about it to start with. But you try to apply your knowledge. Then, no. That's none of your business. You may not have ever experienced what I'm about to say to you. And you may not have anything that you grew up with that gives you that type of background to even identify with me. So men do what women do. We don't want you to solve the problem sometimes. We just want you to hear it. You have no idea if you have no idea what it means to have been sexually inappropriately touched or abused or mentally abused by a guy or mentally abused by a woman, you don't know how to respond to it. You have no idea of how to respond, so just be quiet. You about to hear some stuff that you didn't know, so don't be diagnosing. Don't be doing this. You aren't a trained counselor. Try not to make assumptions about what is wrong or jump too quickly with your own diagnosis or solutions, which is what men do a lot of times. All right, I'm a flow. I know there's a lot of discussion, Miss Nada, but I want people to hear these keys. All right, and then we can go back to anyone that you want to highlight. Okay, keep questions open-ended. I know some people like to investigate when you start to reveal stuff to them. She clapping because she probably saying, anyway, either I'm going by the program she said, or I'm saying the right thing. Keep questions open-ended. Why don't you tell me how you feeling? Can you, rather than saying, can you see you are feeling very low? Try to keep your language neutral. Give a person time to answer, or try not to grill them with too many questions. Put your investigative hat down. Stop trying to figure out how I got in trouble, why I got in trouble, but listen to the trouble that I'm in. Boy, I'm shooting 3-pointers today. I know you want to know, well, what were you doing over there anyway? Well, what were you doing in that position in your life? It was your own fault. You the one decided to change careers. You the one decided to quit that job. You the one decided you want to do something extra. So stop trying to take your investigative hat off and just sit there and be quiet. Okay? Whoever, man or woman, I'm just saying, that's what you do. All right. But don't jump in there and start asking questions, because you're going to inadvertently redirect the person. That's probably what I should say. You're going to change the trajectory of the conversation. Not that you don't have legitimate questions. I was just being over dramatic, okay? But yeah, you're gonna change it if you start putting stuff in it. And so it's like you put a teaspoon of sugar in a gallon of water. You can't take it out. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. You done changed my whole monologue. You done put that sugar in that gallon of water. Now you're gonna try to take it out. It's in there. All right. The next one is talk about self-care. Discuss ways of de-stressing or practicing self-care. Ask if they find anything helpful. Exercising, having a healthy diet or meal plan, if you will, getting a good night's sleep, protect mental health, and sustaining well-being. Okay, here's what we have control over. When I say don't diagnose, you already know that a person didn't get enough sleep last night, or y'all went to bed late last night, or little Johnny is not doing well in school. You think that doesn't affect me because I'm a man. For one reason, you don't want it to affect me. You want it to be the Superman, the S, to be up here all the time. You want Batman to be on duty all the time. And, that's not true. It did affect me. I'm just pushing through it. I'm doing what social construct of man does. We don't need to worry and cry about nothing except women and children. Men, now you supposed to be able to take it. So you have to find ways to just be there and understand when there's something that is lacking. If I haven't been eating well, it's not that, oh, I'm eating well, I'm going to get high blood pressure. No, if I'm not eating well, how you expect me to treat you well? Yeah. How you expect me to treat you right? How you expect me to be emotional if I'm got hypertension, blood pressure, hypertension? You like a Tasmanian devil. So then you going around saying, you sure I mean, and you sure I lighten everybody up in the house. You sure I shut the door, cut the TV off, go to bed, get up. You need to be the one. You sure I'm barking at people because that man is not feeling balanced. It's like every day is PMS. So what do you call it? Menstrual cycle? Men? That was what you call it. Somebody told me they was getting a hysterectomy. And I said, how are you going to get a hysterectomy? Shouldn't you be getting a hysterectomy? Why is it? It's his. You shouldn't be getting that. Anyway, all right. Sorry about that. A couple more, and then we're going to open the conversation back up. Listen carefully to what they tell you. Repeat what they have said back to them to ensure you have understood it. I'm a nationally certified mediator negotiator. The reason I said that is every time I did that in a mediation, I'm working for the court system now. Every time I did that in a mediation, when I used reflective listening, it opened the floor up and people were able to see that we were forgiven. I'm going to say this. We do not want the other side to be right. So we are not naturally inclined the way the English language is to say, oh, so what you're saying to me is that hurts you when I act that way. We're not going to say that. You're going to fight with gloves off. The only way you're going to fight with gloves on is to go to boxing training and MMA. And so we're going to fight with these hands. And that's what we do with each other. It's always counterproductive. We are not in America raised to speak to get a solution and a resolution and a collaborative solution to a problem. We speak to kill each other. So as soon as I tell you how I feel, you're going to tell me how you feel. That's how we work it. Men, that's how we do it. That doesn't lead to life. So just know that. I wasn't trying to teach you anything about mediation, but just know we'd rather go to a courtroom than a mediation room. To close the door, shut the door, and find out what's going on in our lives so we can say, oh, that's why you were acting that way. They went up on your production rate at job. They wrote, you got wrote up because you're not at the top of the sales list anymore. Or you are not feeling good. That's why you said what you said. We're not built that way. We got to have another show to show how you get that way, but you got to ask God to come into your life to show you some revelations of how you're walking around treating people nowadays. And I would say this, if you're not making enough money in your life, that don't mean you should treat me and treat others like which garbage because you don't feel good about your financial situation in life. Stop it. I already know I'm experienced now. Not having a whole lot of money does not give you an excuse to walk around and throw trash everywhere. Being poor can mean you know who you are too. Being poor can mean you know who you are not. Because some people are so poor that all they have is money. Think about what I just said. All right. Listening carefully. Number 7. Okay. Got one more after this. Offer them help in seeking professional support. Provide information and ways to do this. Our former, and again to be Mr. Ben Johnson, was saying we didn't have insurance in the 30s and 40s. We didn't have a lot of insurance. We didn't have means of taking care of ourselves professionally. It just happened in the last 50 years. We started learning how to read and write and go to school. That's why we don't know nothing today. But when you do have information and you do have professionals like myself, like Miss Nada, like other people who are out here screaming to help you, we're not on this show just because we're making $100,000 an episode. We're on this show because God called us and put us in the position in your life through your television, through your computer, to allow us to touch something in you to go to the next level. I'm giving you information, Coach Garrison Office at gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, type your comment in. I'm like one of the pastors, the bishops, the preachers at the end of the service. Will there be one? If it's one, Miss Nada, then I want to help. And lastly, know your limits. Know your limits when you're gone too far. If I'm full, don't keep trying to pour it in. If I'm full, when a man is full, you can stab it, punch it, try to keep. Nah, if I'm full, you might have to wait until tomorrow. It might hurt, but you waited this long.
Well, folks, we are 2 or 3 minutes from the end of the show. And it's been some valuable information as we talk about the mental health of men mostly, but women are included also. There's no age limit on mental health. Coach Garrison has done a fine job with pinpointing some very, very good points as we move forward with this series on mental health. Now, next week, we are going to, hopefully, with the Lord's help, have a guest on the show to continue with this Father's Day tribute. Until then, the only thing that I want to add before I pray us out, I think I had one question, and that is, can certain behaviors be a test for someone, but can be risky also? Can certain behaviors, mental health behaviors, be a test? When we do what we do, again, we're not just talking about men, but then we are talking, because this is a man's episode. But certain behaviors can be a test for someone. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left. And sometimes when we do things, do we deliberately do them to test someone, to see how they respond? Or do we do it out of personal gain or deceit? There are different reasons for doing things. So, Coach, if you want to answer that quickly in about 30 seconds.
Well,
1 minute.
The answer has got to be for both.
Okay.
But you just said something so dynamic. We're human beings. That's what we write on paper that we are. Really, we're creations of God. And so stuff that's inside of us, we want to practically use it. So it comes out of our mouth or our actions. And it's, so are we doing it intentionally? Yes. Are the results that we get, do we always satisfied with them? Always? No. But just acting, just opening your eyes as a human, man, you have malice and forethought. Now, whether you have ill will, that can come after you start acting a certain way or instigating a certain feeling, changing the spirit of the room. That could be an evil thing, telling a joke. But I would say your answer is both intent and accountability for the things you do that you didn't know you did is the key.
All right. Okay, folks. So now we're going to close out this segment, and it's been a joy talking with you. Hopefully you gotten something out of all of this. We give you the praise, honor, God. Thank you for this time. Thank you again for being who you are and anointing this show. In Jesus' name, be with us all. And all of the listeners out there, you men, happy Father's Day. Be blessed and know that you're loved. Amen.
All right. WECU 107.5. Awesome
15,
radio.
yes, 150, 1570 AM. Amen.
All right. Amen. Love you guys. Have a great day.
Take care now.